Welcome back everyone. Today I have a banger for you. For my third advanced PvP guide in the series, I want to tackle the Reaper, a very interesting and unique class that falls short compared to the other melee jobs. But by following a few specific rules, anyone can pop off on Reaper. In my recent games of Frontline, I can now consistently bring in 1.5 million and above damage every match. And the Hysteria as a tactical ultimate is now one of my favourites, opening the enemies to pure destruction. For anyone who missed out on my previous guides, I recently talk about the Dragoon and the Dancer, so make sure to check them out if you're interested in those roles. And if you're new to the channel, consider liking and subscribing, you'll be helping me out a lot, and I will keep bringing in that sweet, beautiful carnage. Without further ado, let's get into it. The Reaper falls into the melee category of the DPS. These jobs consist of the Reaper, Dragoon, Ninja, the Samurai, and the Monk. And where does the Reaper sit in the food chain? Well, unfortunately, the Reaper is at the bottom of the melee DPS. Why? Well, firstly, Dragoon. Dragoon is the melee king and completely overshadows Reaper. Both can very easily engage and disengage. The Dragoon has an attack called Whirlwind Thrust that can deal up to 20,000 damage in a single skill alongside a large burst window. Similar to Dragoon, the Reaper has the Plentiful Harvest. This skill can also deal up to 20,000 damage, but has a big difference. Dragoons need simply backflip, using the elusive jump to proc their skill. For us Reapers, well, we need something called the Immortal Sacrifice, which comes from a single skill, or by getting kills and assists, requiring 8 in total for that 20,000 hit. When it comes to damage, the Ninja is the closest comparison. Both the Ninja and the Reaper have slower pace to their damage, but come with more survivability with their shields. Again, the Reaper falls short to Ninja, since they have a double stun, a stronger shield, and they are a hybrid class, allowing them to do great amounts of range damage, having almost no downtime. When it comes to Samurais, Reaper is actually a very good counter. You can very easily outduel them. And with Hysteria, you can fully shut down a Samurai trying to get an insta-kill ultimate off, forcing them to miss their window of opportunity. This, however, comes down to awareness, as you need to be aware of when the Samurai gets an ult. You must then continue to watch them for the entire match, looking for when they pop Chi-Ten or if someone is afflicted with Kazuchi, to then counter with Hysteria before they themselves pop their ult. But obviously in the lower ranks, it's more often you'll see Reapers kind of running off around lost and unsure what to do. And lastly, the Monk, the brute of the melee lineups. They specialise in extended fights. They can very quickly jump to targets, both teammates and enemies granting shields. And like Dragoons, they have a very powerful burst window that typically is to be expected as you reach half health, including a fast charging ultimate that can deal up to 36,000 damage based on when and how the Monk chooses to use it. Reapers can hold well against Monks into a stalemate for a good 30 seconds or so, but their ultimate still gives them the edge, getting you killed very fast if you do not expect it. Two rules to follow as a Reaper. Stay close or aware of where you place your portals, and don't get aggressive without the use of Arcane Crest. Reapers are amazing at diving the backline while simultaneously setting up their means of escape. You also have access to Arcane Crest, applying a 12,000 shield, and should this barrier get broken, healing regen is applied to you and nearby party members, allowing the Reaper to be a great initiator for dive. The Reaper indeed struggles in some aspects, but this doubles as a strength, as many players will get cocky, only to have you surprise them and drop them before they even knew what hit them. And as a Reaper, you are the single greatest counter to Samurais, which everyone at some point has witnessed their entire team fall for their bait only to get insta-killed. Keeping track of a Samurai will allow a Reaper to time Hysteria in order to shut them down, which can often mean the difference between winning and losing a match. And not just Samurais, the Reaper is the only class capable of winning those long drawn out overtime rounds, forcing the entire enemy teams to walk off the objective, even if they try to guard. And finally, the Reaper has some amazing surprise burst damage. It just takes longer for the chance to present itself. With a full 8 stacks of Immortal Sacrifice and a good use of Death Warrant onto a single target, compiling 50% of the damage you deal to that target, which will explode when the time expires, allows you to get a sudden drop on players. The Reaper lacks fast access to burst damage, and skill-wise is largely a close-range class. This will often lead to downtime during fights, where even reaching a target can be a struggle. Your survivability relies on both the Arcane Crest and Hell's Ingress. Misuse of either skill can put you in a bad position and again can often leave you out of fights. Your burst window opportunity can be very long to acquire, as only Soul Slice grants immortal stacks on a 20-second cooldown. In order to get 8 stacks, well, firstly, you cannot die, as they are lost upon death, and secondly, this means you're trapped with the luck of the draw on teammates. A passive team will be unable to help you get the kills and assists that Plentiful Harvest relies on, meaning the Reaper can be at a huge disadvantage throughout the entire match. While the ultimate has its strengths, it is not without weakness. Often you will find that because Hysteria forces players away, depending on how heavily focused you get, more often than not you'll be forced to pop Communio and move on to charging your next ultimate. Good news, gentlemen! When it comes to maps, the smaller, the better. For competitive, the greatest Reaper map is Cloud9, a medium-sized map allowing you to easily dive the backlines. And with a well-placed Hysteria, you can very easily ensnare the entire enemy team, getting them caught up in the Storm environmental. Volcanic Heart. This is also an amazing map for Reapers, small and compacted areas for battle, alongside Speed Lane, granting you fast access to key points around the map. I rank this second due to range classes such as Dancer can be a nightmare to deal with being able to abuse those lines of sight. But again, another map in which a beautifully timed ultimate can trap your opponents inside environmental for easy 30,000 damage. And last on the competitive side is Palistria. Correct cooldown usage is key on this map, as the large open area can leave you vulnerable and toyed with by the range jobs. When it comes to frontline, Onsel Haker and Seal Rock are your best picks, as your Hysteria can make it a nightmare for players to capture the objectives. And when it comes to the Fields of Glory or Borderland Ruins, select areas of these maps open up the opportunity for you to force players to fall to their deaths with Hysteria. When it comes to the Reaper's window of opportunity for high burst, for the best possible damage that will catch anyone by surprise requires you to have 8 stacks of Sacrifice and your ult ready. Begin with Hell's Ingress, followed by Arcane Crest. Pop your ultimate Tenebrae Lemorum straight into Death Warrant. This will begin compiling damage. Burn the target with as much damage as possible within this 7-second window. Once you see Death Warrant detonate, like on screen here for 24,000 damage, immediately follow up with Plentiful Harvest for an additional 20,000. And there you have it, everything you need to know to begin your grind as a Reaper. The only tips I can give you is to maintain good control and usage over Hell's Ingress and Arcane Crest. And don't forget to bully every Samurai 1 trick you come across. And before I leave you, if you're interested in seeing how well a Reaper can perform, up next is Onsel Haker, a match with 14 kills and 1.8 million damage on Reaper. Thanks again for clicking on today's video, and I'll see you all in the next one.